All right, today we're diving into something huge, a really powerful idea, a single, unifying theory for so many of the chronic health issues we see all around us.
Think about it for a second. Heart disease, diabetes, even that annoying brain fog. What if they're not separate problems at all? What if they're all just symptoms, different branches sprouting from the exact same damaged root? Well, that's the big mystery we're going to get to the bottom of today.
And that root problem, it has a name, oxidative stress. Now, that sounds complicated, but I promise, it's not. It's basically an imbalance. It's what happens when the little sparks that your body makes just by being alive start to outnumber the fire extinguishers that are supposed to put them out.
So to really get this, we've got to pop the hood. Take a look at our own cellular engines. Let's see how your body actually makes energy, and more importantly, why it makes these dangerous little sparks in the first place.
Okay, so check this out. It's actually a really simple and kind of cool analogy. Picture this. Every single one of your cells, and you've got trillions of them, has these little power plants, these engines, called mitochondria. Their job is to take the food you eat and the air you breathe and burn it to make energy. Simple enough, right? But here's the catch. Just like a car engine, it's not 100% clean burn. It sputters, it throws off sparks. And in your body, these sparks are nasty little things called free radicals. They're like tiny hot embers bouncing around, damaging anything and everything they touch. Now, thankfully, our bodies are smart. We have a built-in fire department in the form of antioxidants. So what is oxidative stress? It's just when there are way more sparks than your fire department can handle.
And listen, this isn't some weird abstract science thing. You've seen it with your own eyes. You know when you cut an apple and leave it on the counter and it starts to turn brown? Yeah, that is oxidation. And that exact same process, that browning, well, it's happening inside of us. It's like a slow, steady rusting of our own internal machinery.
So the big question is, where does this fire start to get out of control? Where's the weak link? Well, a lot of the evidence points to one specific organ. It's like the first domino in a huge, long line. Once it gets overwhelmed and falls, it sets off a massive chain reaction through your whole body. And that organ? It's your liver.
We think of the liver as just a filter, but it's so much more than that. It is the command center, the main factory that actually makes your body's most powerful fire extinguishers. We're talking about the master antioxidant, glutathione. So the liver is our absolute frontline defense, which begs the question, what on earth could be powerful enough to overwhelm it?
Well, this right here explains it perfectly. Think about an apple versus apple juice. When you eat a whole apple, all that sugar is wrapped up in fiber. It gets to your liver slowly, like a little trickle from a tap. Your liver can handle that, no problem. But when you drink apple juice, all that fiber is gone. Now the sugar from maybe 5 or 6 apples hits your liver all at once. It's not a trickle anymore, it's a tidal wave, a full-blown metabolic flood. And for your liver, that's an emergency.
And when your liver is faced with that flood, it basically panics. It goes into emergency lockdown mode. And in that moment of crisis, it only has one trick up its sleeve to handle all that excess energy. It has to turn it into fat, and it does it fast. This whole process is called de novo lipogenesis, which is just a fancy way of saying making new fat from scratch.
And right here, this is the tipping point. This is where everything starts to go wrong. All that new fat being made leads to something called non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, or NAFLD for short. Your liver literally starts getting clogged up with fat, and a clogged liver just doesn't work right. It's dysfunctional. This is the gateway to all those other problems. This is that first domino we were talking about, finally tipping over.
But here's the thing. A problem in the liver doesn't just stay in the liver. Oh no, it sets off this huge cascade, a ripple effect that spreads through your entire system, turning that one single problem into a whole host of them.
So, what's the very first thing that happens? That clogged up, fatty liver becomes insulin resistant. Okay, think of it like this. Insulin is the hormone that's like a key. It's supposed to unlock the door to your liver to let sugar in for storage. But now, with all that fat, the keyhole is jammed. The door is blocked. The liver just can't hear insulin knocking anymore.
So your pancreas, which makes the insulin, senses this. It sees all this sugar still hanging around in the blood, and it thinks, I guess I wasn't loud enough. So what does it do? It starts shouting. It pumps out more and more and more insulin, just desperately trying to get the liver to listen. And this is really bad news because now you've got this dangerous situation with both high blood sugar and high insulin.
And this is where things get really nasty. A vicious cycle kicks into high gear. See, high insulin's main job is to store fat, so it creates even more of this deep internal fat around your organs, sometimes called angry fat. And this angry fat isn't just sitting there. It acts like its own little factory, pumping out all these inflammatory chemicals. That inflammation, of course, creates more of those sparks, more oxidative stress, which, guess what? Damages the liver even more, making it even more insulin resistant, and the cycle just keeps going faster and faster. And this is how we end up with a doctor giving us all these different diagnoses that seem unrelated. That high insulin, it tells your kidneys to hang on to salt and water, which leads to high blood pressure. All that inflammation, it starts damaging the lining of your blood vessels, leading to heart disease. And eventually, after all that shouting, the pancreas just gets exhausted and burns out. And that is type 2 diabetes. See? They look like different diseases, but they're all just branches growing from that same single root.
And what about something as common as brain fog? Yep, that's connected too. It's not in your head, it's not a psychological thing, it's a real physical symptom. All that inflammation coursing through your body, it's like a low-grade fire. And that fire can actually cross the protective barrier into your brain. It's literally the feeling of a brain that's inflamed, which is why you feel so tired and can't think straight.
Okay, wow. That's a lot, and it sounds pretty grim, I know. But here's the most important part of this whole story, the solution. Because if we understand how this fire starts, it means we also know how to put it out. So let's talk about how we can start dousing those flames.
It really comes down to 4 basic foundational things you can do, 4 big levers you can pull, and you'll see how each one directly pushes back against the problems we just talked about. First, upgrade your food quality. Simple. Eat real food, stuff with fiber, so you stop flooding your liver. Second, reset your food clock. Just shrink your eating window a bit each day to give your organs a much-needed break to clean up and repair. Third, sync your master clock. Getting some sunlight in the morning is a powerful signal to your whole body's operating system. And finally, number 4, prioritize that night shift. You have to protect your sleep. That's when your brain runs its nightly wash cycle and your body does its deep repairs.
So at the end of the day, this isn't about chasing some single magic pill or the latest trendy biohack. It's simpler and way more profound than that. It's about realizing that your body is always listening. The goal is just to consistently send it the right signals, signals for healing and repair, instead of signals for stress and disease. And that, right there, is the real takeaway. This knowledge is everything. Your body is an incredible, resilient machine designed to heal itself. And now that you understand what's causing the fire, you literally have the instruction manual to put it out. The power to send those healing signals, to douse these flames, it's not out there somewhere. It is, and it has always been, in your hands.